How did Brazil become the ultimate World Cup team? This is episode 3 of me telling a story about every nation that qualifies for the 2026 World Cup. Now everyone knows Brazil as the 5-time champions, the only team to never miss a World Cup. But how did this happen? Well, if you go back to the 1930 World Cup, they were invited. There was no such thing as qualification. But in that period, Brazil had a lot of disputes between Rio and Sao Paulo. And so back in the days when they needed to travel by boat to the host countries, they would arrive unprepared, unfit, overweight, and so they performed poorly. But just as they were finding their vibe by making the semifinals in 1938, World War happens, no World Cups until 1950, which Brazil hosts, and they find themselves dominating, only needing to beat Uruguay in the final match to be champion. Everybody, from politicians to fans to players, were like, yeah, we're gonna win this. Allegedly more than 200,000 fans at the Maracanã, and that stadium's name would be converted into the Maracanazo. In one of the first massive bottle jobs in history, Brazil lost to Uruguay, and the nation fell into silence. Who's going to save them? A 17-year-old kid that you guys maybe know, Pelé. He leads them to victory in 1958. And despite his injury in 62, Garrincha leads Brazil to the World Cup. 1970, one of the greatest teams of all time, wins the World Cup for a third time. But then Pelé retires and you're talking 2 decades of struggle. And it wasn't like Brazil had a bad team, but it was Jogo Bonito that came under criticism. In fact, the 1982 World Cup where Paulo Rossi scored a hat-trick against Brazil, it changed the philosophy of a nation. For the first time, Brazilians were like, maybe our flair isn't the way anymore. And so you get to the 1994 World Cup and they actually go 0-0 across 120 minutes and defeat Italy on penalties. World Cup number 4. But are you starting to realize that this Brazil team could have had way more than 5 trophies? 1998, they make the final with an amazing young Ronaldo Fenomeno. But a lot of controversy before the final. He's in the team, then he's not. Apparently he fainted, apparently he's injured. Brazil lose 3-0. But in 2002, Fenomeno comes back and leads them to trophy number 5. But 2006, my first World Cup, I was watching that Brazilian team like, what? Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Kaká, Adriano. My dad wakes me up the next day to tell me Thierry Henry scored, and that's it. End of a generation. 2010, what was that? 2014, remember the Maracanazo? Well, now they had the Mineiraço. If 1950 was the darkest day in Brazilian football history, then 2014 was even darker. And since then, Brazil just hasn't been the same. Like, how can Brazil, the ultimate World Cup team, just not even make you feel anything at World Cups anymore? What was 2018? What was 2022? And yet, that's what makes Brazil the ultimate World Cup team. No other nation has lived every shade possible of Brazil's journey to the World Cup. No matter the era, no matter the difficulties, Brazil was always there. This truly is o país do futebol. And that's why even if Brazil don't win the 2026 World Cup, I hope to be there and witness the Brazilian fan spirit as they make their journey to the US, Canada, and Mexico.